Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and we're going to be taking you through how to add UTMs to your texture workflow. We went ahead in the last videos. I believe we ended up on video 6. This will be video 7, and this is where we look at our UVs and we break them up into what's called UTMs, and these UTMs are very efficient. If we look at this right here, the way the UVs are laid out, again, UTMs works that you can select, and this is how I work. My workflow is that I break up the UVs per material attribute that I want to add. So if it's plastic or metal or rubber, this allows you the ability and the freedom to go ahead and break these up into small pieces, or excuse me, small UVs, to be able to texture them in a program like Substance Painter, which makes your life a ton easier when you're texturing your pieces, and you don't have to use ID maps anymore. You can just use UTMs. And how UTMs work is that we start with 1, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then it goes up 11, 12, 13, 14. So I have 14 UTM UV spaces that are taken up. And of course it can go infinitely up, so it goes from left to right, and up all the way. So that's how UTMs work. We went ahead and I showed you how to do that. If you don't know how to get to this point, watch videos 1 through 6. They're up on Canvas. Okay, so this is my lecture today, where I take you through how to use these UTMs. Okay, the only way you can use them is if you have a program that allows you to use them. Now, I'm not quite sure if Photoshop, there might be a workaround for Photoshop, but right now I don't know if Photoshop actually supports UTMs, but Substance Painter does. So if I go in here and I open up Substance Painter, you have to have this program. Okay, now if you don't have this at home, it's free for you guys to download. So to do that, you want to go on Google or whatever your favorite, Firefox or whatever your favorite search engine is, and type in Substance Painter Free for Students. And in here you will see www.substance3d.com education, and click on special offers for education Substance 3D. So here's Substance and the Substance website, and you can go in here and you can buy or try for free. And then here, if you go down, now if you just do the free trial up here, what's going to happen is that you'll get 30 days. With Students and Teacher, you're entitled to a free personal license. Click here. Yay! Big old red button. You probably have to put in your JCC student email account in that. I would use that. That sometimes they the only way to validate it is to know what school it's coming from. So use your JCC account, your student email account. Go ahead and download it and get it set up. You do have to have like 1 or 2 gigs of memory free on your hard drive, system hard drive, so it'll work properly. You do have to have a pretty fast graphics card. I think it still will work on regular graphics cards, but I'm not sure. I can't guarantee it. But again, if you can't get Substance Painter, you won't be able to do UTMs, and you'll have to do laying out UVs normally just with 1 UV space. But I just want to make sure you guys know that this is available to you if you want to give it a try. I'm not requiring UTMs because some of you can't get Substance Painter to work. If you can, it is wonderful, and you'll find out why. And you're going to want to have Substance Painter after I talk you through. Your stuff will look so much better. Alright, so let's put this over to the side. We don't need that anymore. And we'll go ahead and continue with getting things set up. Alright, so what you have to do for Maya to work is that we've got to send the object out as an OBJ. Okay, so you'll have to select it, and you'll have to combine all the pieces, all the pieces together. You have to have a UV map that looks similar to this for UDIMs to work, and you have to save it out properly. Okay, to save it out properly, you have to go into the snapshot mode and save it out, and you want to go pretty high resolution. We can always go lower, but we can't go higher. And this is the key. So you want 14 across by 1 up. Now you don't have to, just because we're using 2 spaces doesn't mean that you'll be using that. So it's really important that we tell it what we're going, how many spaces we're going, because what it does is it looks to 1001 to 10010, and then it continues this way. So it's like a continuous loop, okay, like a snake loop. And the 1 just specifies that we're just going straight across. Okay, so don't type in 2 or 3, because that's not how it works. Okay, so tell it where to go, and you should be good to go. And after you do all this stuff, you apply and close. And when you save this out, it has to be in object mode. That's another thing you guys got to remember. Okay, you have to have it in object mode to be able to save a snapshot. It'll act like it does nothing. If it's in component mode, which is blue, it won't. It'll act like it's saving it, and then you'll wonder why it didn't save. So just remember that. I think that's it. So let's go ahead and save this out. So you go to File, Export Selection. Okay, we want OBJ Export. Okay, that's the only thing it'll really take. And then Export Selection. And you want to type in exactly what it is. So what is that? It's a sci-fi headphone, or just put headphones. Name it something specific, because as we go through this, you'll have to do this for every single piece that you have. Headphones, and let's just put in there texture. Okay, that's what we want to. And it remembers what you have in here. So whatever you name it in Substance Painter will be the base texture name of the object, so be specific on it. Alright, so go ahead and export that. Know where it's going to as well. It's going to my G drive, okay, in my scenes folder. Okay, go ahead and click on Export Selection. Alright, give it some time. Depending on how large the object is, will depend on how long it takes to export it. Okay, we're good to go now. So let's go back into Substance Painter. Alright, Substance Painter is very, very powerful, and one of the things I would highly suggest you do if you don't know how to use Substance Painter, this really isn't a class that I'm going to show you everything about Substance Painter, but I will just take you through some how it works and how the layers work. But you will have to go into Substance Substance Painter, or just Substance, and watch a couple tutorials. Now there's some really cool tutorials out there that I'll put on Canvas for you guys that I think are wonderful. That's how I started, and so I think they're great tutorials. And if you go through them, you'll get more comfortable and have some fun with some of the really cool effects they have. All right, so go to File and New. And this is really important. The template we're going to be using is called PBR Metallic Roughness. This is really important because we're using Arnold as a renderer. So this will work perfectly for that. Of course, we have all kinds of stuff in here. But if you get lost or something, just always remember PBR Metal Roughness Algorithmic. There you go. And the normal map format, it really depends on your hard drive, or your graphics card, but DirectX is what I would prefer. And you see here we got what's called create a texture set per UDIM tile. So this is wonderful. This is what's going to save you from a lot of pain and agony having you have to mask all your stuff. Now normally in Substance Painter you have to go in there, and when you bring your object in, you have to go in there and mask it all. Now the reason why I changed my workflow entirely when using Substance Painter is because now I can use UDIM tiles, and these UDIM tiles allow me to separate my materials into what they really are, which is like, could be metal, could be plastic, it could be whatever. I have 14 different variations I can use for all these materials that I have. Okay, so keep that in mind. UDIMS is a wonderful tool. I don't have to bake ID maps anymore. So this is just a wonderful workflow that I highly recommend that you use. Okay, so make sure that's selected, otherwise it won't work. And we want the documentation resolution to be 4096. And so let's go ahead and select, and let's find where I need to go. And 8235 character modeling spring. I think that's it. And here are my headphones. And I open. Okay. Alright, nothing happens, but they are there. You can see mesh, headphones, texture.obj, and let's go ahead and click on OK. And there they are. Now, Substance Painter uses my key commands. And so if you go in here, you can see that I can hold down the Alt and just my left mouse button to move around and zoom in and out of the character or of the model. Okay, that's really cool. And let's move this up a little bit so you guys can see what's going on here. Look at that. So here's my layers. Okay, here's my texture, UV texture set. This is wonderful. So each one of these, if it is on and selected, shows me exactly what the texture base is. Okay, and this allows me to, when I'm actually highlighting these, it takes a while because there's quite a few of them in here. You can see all of the texture maps that I have. Okay, which is awesome. Okay, these are all of them. 1001, just like I said, all the way to 1014. Okay, so let's go with 1001. That is the outside, and that's another thing. I'm able to kind of go in here and see exactly what I've got. And I've got my UV right here. You can go in here and you can check out what is on here. Now we'll go into this a little bit closer in detail. Okay, another thing you have to think about is I have a lot of materials. That's because I've been, and it takes a lot of space on my hard drive. But I use Substance Source, and I've been kind of collecting materials for a long time. Now, in the next couple days, I am going to put together a nice little basic starting material that you guys can start using. Because I think I don't expect you guys to spend a lot of money trying to get these materials, but there's some materials here that I have free that I'm going to put together for you so you can get started. So, with that said, let's go ahead and start popping these materials in. Let's find something good. I'm going to search for, let's say on the outside, let's say this will be hard plastic. So let me type in plastic and see if we can get something for that. So there's my search for plastic, and you can see if I hold it across, if I just hold it over, I can see kind of what we got. Plastic leather grain large. Ooh, that's kind of cool. We've got plastic harlequin grain. That's neat too. And we got plastic haled grain thin. That's kind of like almost looks like a rubber. There's plastic material that's really shiny. Okay. That might be something we could use on the shiny parts. But right here, I kind of like that. This one right here is kind of neat. So I'm going to go ahead, make sure I'm highlighting that. Okay. And if I pull, let's see if I can pull that down. If I pull this down a little bit over around, there we go. Let's move this over here. Okay. And so I can just move that wherever I want to. What I want to do now is I want to select what I'm working on, and this is my layer select for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and this guy right here, I'm going to drag and drop it over this. Okay. And this is what we got. Pretty dang cool. Let's get that lighting to where we want it. There we go. Okay. Now, that's pretty... it looks kind of funky, but it's kind of cool. With it being so... I mean, it's scaled too big, obviously, but it's pretty cool, though. So if I go in here, and if I go to... You can see what's happening here. So if I go to base color, that's the base color. And I can go in here and look if there's a height map. There's no height map, it's checkerboard. But if I go in here to roughness, you can see, ooh, there's the roughness map. And that's like the specularity. And it works like a specularity map, that anything is white or gray is going to be really kind of shiny. Anything black and dark gray will be flat and not shiny. We got our metallic, which it's not metal, so we don't have it's just black. And then we have a normal map. Ooh, so you can see that kind of reacts really quickly, and that's our normal map. That's what's giving us the illusion of it being bumpy. And then we have looks like it doesn't have a height map, so that's fine. So let's go back to material. And I'm running out of time for this video, but we're going to come back. I'm going to stop it, and then we'll come back to it. Alright, thanks again.